Hello. Erin, hi. Ty, I'm like in my magical heaven. If I can get through the next 2 hours without crying, it'll be amazing. So come on in, everyone. I know that it's Friday and everyone's excited and we have so much going on. We're going to give it one more minute to let a few more people in, and then we're going to turn it over to Kelly.
I've met Ty before. Hi, Ty. Nice to see you.
Good to see you as well, Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Awesome, and good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I don't think I've met anyone else, but if I'm wrong, feel free to shout out. I just saw her face and was like, I know that one.
You're like, I know Ty. I feel like everyone does. Every circle I'm in.
He's been around for a long time. I think that's why it's totally just years, dog years moment. That's why.
You're like, I've been here, I've been around. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start us so that we have plenty of time for Kelly. So Kelly, we are thrilled to have you. For all of our BrainTrust Founder Studio members, Kelly and I have been cooking up some exciting things for Goop and the studio that we're going to be sharing and then launching this fall. So excited for this session. I've invited Kelly, especially as it's Founder Friday. It's also the end of Earth Month, but more importantly, the work that Kelly and Goop have done to really just change the industry and the way that we think about clean. So I won't take up any more of Kelly's time, but we're so thankful to have you. Welcome. This is really one of our first Founder Friday chats with all of our founders. So today, Kelly's going to walk us through Goop, what clean means. We'll have some time for questions at the end. And then for all of the Founder Studio members, we will share more about what we've been cooking up in a separate session. So Kelly, I'll turn it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kendra. And I didn't know I was one of the first. So now I feel like I've got a lot of pressure on my plate. So hopefully that this is worth the while for you all. But thank you so much for joining today. I'm so excited to be chatting with you all. Kendra, keep me honest on time. I'll kind of just like blurb away, but if you want to cut me off, I want to make sure we have a lot of time for questions because I think that's like the most important stuff here. But just to give you guys a little bit of background on me, I've been at Goop for 5 years. I just celebrated my anniversary, which feels like a long time. I was originally brought on the team to help develop our wholesale strategy for our own Goop beauty and wellness products. So worked for a couple of years there. We now are sold at a number of different stores internationally. We're at Sephora in North America. We're at Mecca in Australia, if you're familiar with that retailer. A couple .com retailers within the EU, but continuing to expand. And then in the last about year and a half, I was brought on to oversee the multi-brand business for our e-commerce platform. So I get to work with a number of incredible brands like you guys. We currently have about 250 brands within the beauty and wellness portfolio. And that spans all categories within beauty and wellness. So skincare, hair, color, bath and body, wellness. We're looking at vitamins and supplements, devices, sexual wellness, which is a huge category of growth for Goop. So lots of different product categories, which makes the job so exciting and always keeps me on my toes. Before I was at Goop, I had a background in fashion. I interrupted Kendra to not let her spiel all the different names that I worked for because they're not that important. But I lived in New York for a long time and worked for some of the contemporary brands there. So I have a history in merchandising and sales and marketing. But luckily switched over to the beauty side when I started working at Goop. I'm obsessed with beauty. I love it so much more than apparel. I'm curious to know if any of you guys have worked in that side of the industry too and the differences. But less about me. I'll go into Goop. So For anyone that is not familiar with Goop, I'll just do a quick background. So obviously founded by Gwyneth Paltrow. She started it in 2008. So we are now, I'm like, can I do quick math in my head? We are spanning almost 2 decades coming up on. And she started it as a newsletter from her kitchen. It was really homespun. I'm not sure if any of you were early subscribers, but it was definitely different than it looks today. Very organic. She was just writing kind of things that she was curious about. And she realized her privilege and her access to some of the world's greatest experts in a lot of these different categories. So she wanted to share that with the general public. And really started and still continues to operate from a place of curiosity and non-judgment. So we really pride ourselves in starting hard conversations. We talk about things that other people are maybe a little bit scared to talk about, things like sexual wellness. I mean, we were also talking about things that seem so mainstream now for all of us, but like yoga, eating a little bit cleaner, and clean beauty was really one of those. And so we like to think that we help to crack taboos, or at least talk about them, and look for connection and resonance in anything that we do. So like we started in content, our key platform driver continues to be our content. And we call that commercialized content or contextualized commerce. That's a lot of C words that I just said. But really making sure that we are bringing things onto the site in a very curated fashion and in a way that we can talk about them. So we don't just bring on a product, just to sell it as part of a marketplace. It really is a curated assortment. And you'll see if you've explored the site, we don't carry the full assortment from most of our brands. We really handpick and select to make sure that we can talk about them in a really interesting way and that they're going to resonate with our consumer. And obviously, Goop has a number of different touch points, which really makes it such an incredible place to work. We not only have the e-com site and content platform, we have a podcast. We've had a couple seasons of a Netflix show. If you haven't watched, I really recommend that you check that out. And then we have stores as well. We have 3 permanent stores in LA, New York, and the Hamptons, a couple in some high-end properties. So lots of different touch points to the consumer, which really makes it so fun and really makes it such a true lifestyle brand. In addition to beauty and wellness, because that's just the side that I oversee, we also have a really robust fashion and home categories on the site. Those are managed by a different team, but all very big drivers of our business and equally as important. So in terms of what makes clean for us, we really pride ourselves in being one of the first retailers that was talking about clean. And we were actually talking about it before we were even really selling the products. So Gwyneth's experience with it in particular really revolved around pregnancy. So when she became pregnant with her first child, she started thinking about, what she was putting on her skin, what she was ingesting. She had also previously kind of started exploring it when her father was diagnosed with cancer. And so they were looking into, different ingredients in products, different ingredients in food. So her curiosity was always there. And then when she started Goop, she really started to explore it to a whole different level. And so today we have a really robust in-house team of scientists, chemists, toxicologists that all have helped us create our prohibited list. And this is something that I've shared with Kendra, and I can certainly work with the teams as we further develop our relationship over what exactly we ban. I don't want to get into the really nitty gritty of it. We only have a couple minutes, but we ban over 6,000 ingredients on our list, which I can confidently say is one of the largest banned ingredient lists. We really focus on ingredients that could possibly or potentially have a harmful health effect. And so that's anything from PEGs to polysorbates to phthalates to polyquaterniums, disodium EDTA, the list goes on. Another thing that we're really transparent about is fragrance, because I know some of you might know that you can really, because of the trade secret of fragrance, you can get away with hiding some things inside of that. So if your product does have fragrance, we do a really in-depth dive into the ingredient itself to make sure that it meets our standards, so our consumer feels safe using the products. And then another key pillar for us would be around clinicals. It's something that we do on our own products, and it's something that we really see resonate strongly with our consumer is, being clean isn't just good enough anymore. The products really have to work and they have to do what they're saying they do. So clinical studies, whether they're on ingredients or the final formulas, are really important to us and a key pillar of our business. So I'll pause there. I know I just blurted out a lot of information. Kendra, let me know if you want me to keep going or if you feel like that's a good time to stop and we can
Kelly,
questions.
I think that was a great, and again, you guys, to Kelly's point, we wanted to have this precursor and really start the conversation, give some high level, get some thoughts and questions from you guys. And then Kelly and I are working on more kind of one-on-ones as you start to understand what the ban list is, if it makes sense for your products to be on Goop. Kelly's list is quite long, but we'll work with you to see what makes sense. So if there's any questions, we'll open it up. And then Kelly, I'll toss it back to you if there's anything else.
Okay.
So feel free to unmute or drop in the chat. If anyone has questions or thoughts. Ron, I know your chemist brain is going crazy with all of that terminology.
I have a question. So I don't know if you're familiar with the list that was circulated by the breast cancer Partners for Prevention or Prevention Partners campaign, which lists a number of different chemical constituents, which could also include naturally occurring chemical constituents.
Mm-hmm.
What is your position on that? I mean, though it was very surprising to a lot of us in the industry that there were constituents on that list that are naturally occurring in lavender, in rose, in geranium, in sweet orange. So I just want to get your feedback on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm personally probably not the best person to give you the exact scientific answer. Like I said, we have a really robust team internally that does all of that work. But I can certainly say the ones that you just listed are not on our banned ingredient list. I mean, it's so tricky, right? Because there's so many lists put out by so many different people. And so we just do our best to really stay on top of the research and make sure that our list aligns with what is scientifically proven. And like I said, we're pretty conservative. So if something has the potential, it ends up on the list, but it's not just it might do it, so we're going to add it to the list. We really, it's really thoughtful and strategic. I haven't done, and I'm not sure if our team has, a side-by-side of our list versus the one that you're talking about from the Breast Cancer Society. But that's interesting. I'll certainly probe with them and I can circle back with Kendra.
Yeah, I think I provided Kendra with the list, so maybe
Yeah,
share it.
absolutely. That's Kiva. That's an excellent comparison. And Kelly, I'll make sure that you have it, and
Okay.
we can then get back to everyone.
Yeah.
And we do have a question, Ron Robinson, Beauty Stat. What new categories are you most excited about, Kelly, at Goop?
Absolutely. So most excited, but also where we're seeing the most growth. And that doesn't mean that the other categories are not growing or not exciting, but is within hair care for beauty. The clean hair care space is one that was always kind of behind skincare and color, and has really started to take off in the last, I would say, year and a half. And so that's where we've seen the most growth. I still think that there's tremendous white space, especially for textured hair. There isn't a lot of brands out there that are clean, that really speak to your audience. And then within wellness, like I said, sexual wellness is one that like continues to blow up. We carry a lot of what we call devices on the site, and I feel like there's a number of strong players in that category, especially female-owned brands that have really championed female sexual wellness. But where I still see a white space and what I'm excited about are replenishable products within those categories. Should it be lubricant? Should it be like arousal serums? Different products, even ingestibles that help with libido. So that's a category I'm definitely keeping my eyes on.
That was a great article in CW about sexual wellness too. And you guys are at the forefront of devices.
Yeah, we are. It's funny. It's a category I never thought that I would be buying, but it's definitely exciting.
And we have another question, Bev. So if we wanted to be featured on Goop, what would be the process? And this is something that Kelly and I are working on, but I'll let you tell the general process and then we'll share what we're doing.
Yeah, so we used to, before we had a robust curated assortment on the site. Goop used to work more like an online magazine where you could be featured if you weren't sold on the site. Now the way that we work is to be featured in an editorial, you have to be sold on the site. So we work kind of two ways. You can either come through my team or my area of business, or through our editorial team. We work really, really closely with them. And we both keep a pulse on the business. We do a lot of trend research. We work with people like Kendra, who have incredible insights and connections with brands like you guys. And so it's about really getting the product in front of us so that we can try it. And I know Kendra has some things up her sleeve on how we can do that all together.
Absolutely. We want to give access and opportunity and make it easy. And because Kelly's been so willing to share and work with us on her list, we think there's some exciting things coming for the future. And we have about 2 minutes left. We have one more question, Kelly, from Lucian, founder of Carbon Plus. The percentage of Goop customers who have Black and brown skin. As you know, BrainTrust Founders Studio is focused on Black beauty and wellness founders. So what does your consumer base look like?
Absolutely. Our consumer base is growing in that category. We're really working on customer acquisition, which is a key pillar for us over the last number of years. I don't have the exact percentage that I can share with you today. I would guess it hovers in between 15 and 20%, but don't quote me on that. And definitely something that is a key priority for us.
Fantastic. And, you know, I have to say, and this is what GP and Kelly and I talked about, when the pandemic happened and Black Lives Matter, like Gwyneth really made it a point to give space, to give advertising for Black brands, and the willingness to continue to support Black and brown beauty founders is genuine, and it's there. I know personally from GP, Kelly, who clearly is sharing the mission and the purpose. So we're excited to do more. Kelly, we will absolutely have you back to talk to our founders. Kelly and I will be in touch with what we're working on for the fall. And also, if anyone has any questions as we go on time, please email founders@thebraintrust.com. We will get them answered as best we can. And thank you all so much for joining. Kelly, thank you for your time. Happy Friday. And for all of the founders who are joining for our virtual founder coffee, we'll drop the link in the chat and we'll see you over there at 11 o'clock. Thank you, Kelly.